Hello and welcome. You're watching the morning news show on CNN News 18. I'm Sakshi Singh Litoria here with a weekend dose of top headlines. Now starting right off with some breaking news coming in. It is about the floods that have erupted in the state of Assam. Remember, it is about those incessant rains that has led to flooding in several parts of Assam. Now water level of Brahmaputra river has risen due to heavy rains in Guwahati. River is currently flowing over danger level as well. Flood situation has erupted in Lakhimpur and also it remains grim. Now water levels rise following those incessant rains in the state, and Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia chaired a key meeting with central and state agencies to review preparedness for flood management. Remember, Assam is currently facing severe floods affecting millions of people and causing significant damage. Heavy rainfall has led to overflowing of rivers, submerging villages and displacing a lot of residents as well. Now crops, livestock and infrastructure has also been destroyed in several parts of the state, disrupting the normal life of the state. Rescue and relief operations are currently underway, with authorities working to evacuate affected individuals to safer areas. The state government is also providing essential supplies and medical aid to the affected population there, and situation continues to remain critical as efforts continue to mitigate the impact of the devastating flood in Assam. And now this is the breaking news that we have received, that the water level of Brahmaputra river rises due to heavy rains in Guwahati. Now we are moving on to our next story, which is from the violence hit state of West Bengal and those crucial approaching Panchayat polls in the state.
তৃণমূল কম চার্জ করছে আমাদের উপরে, আর পুলিশ ছোট যখন না ভাবা যায়।
Atrocities, intimidation, violence will not be tolerated. As a man on the street says, chalbona, chalbona, hobena, hobena. That is going to be the approach towards vandalism, towards violence.
রাজ্য নির্বাচন কমিশনের মাথায় যিনি আছেন, তিনি যে কাঠের পুতুল এবং তার যে সুতোগুলো মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়ের হাতে আছে, এটা কিন্তু একদম পরিষ্কার হয়ে গেছে। রাজ্য নির্বাচন কমিশনের মাথায় পরিষ্কার করে দিয়েছেন তার অ্যাক্টিভিটি।
If the governor wants to do it, let it do it for the people. Why he will go a particular political party?
Now, violence in the state of West Bengal continues ahead of the Panchayat polls. The BJP has now demanded that Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee should be arrested. The death toll due to the unrest in the state stands at 5. The State Election Commission has moved to the Supreme Court challenging the High Court order on central force deployment for the polls. However, the BJP and the Congress have also filed caveat pleas ahead of the Supreme Court order. Yesterday, West Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda Bose visited violence-hit areas and said that vandalism does not have a place in democracy.
I had seen for myself what happened here. I have heard with my own ears the tales of war that are narrated to me by the victims. Mobocracy seems to be taking over democracy. This does not bring credit to anyone down the line. Whenever there is an encroachment on any of these, I will certainly defend it with all my might, because the people want it, the Constitution wants it. Atrocities, intimidation, violence will not be tolerated. As a man on the street says, chalbona, chalbona, hobena, hobena. That is going to be the approach towards vandalism, towards violence, which is marring the political ethos of the state.
Abhishek Banerjee's constituency the maximum number of violence has taken place in those areas because there were clear instructions to do violence. That is what we have seen. People were shot dead on the head. And thereafter the CM says that these are just stray incidents. So life of people for her are like stray dogs and lives don't matter to her. See, it is the same Mamata Banerjee who yesterday said that, see, during the CPM regime also there was so much of violence and that Bengal has a bloody history. So I would say that governments like this who are bloodthirsty have bloody histories.
আদালত এই রায় দিয়েছে, আপনি কি মানবেন? উনি বলেছিলেন আপনাদের সামনে যে আদালতের রায় আমরা মেনে চলবো। তারপর দিনই উনি বললেন এক কথা, অথচ যাচ্ছেন হায়ার কোর্টে। অর্থাৎ রাজ্য নির্বাচন কমিশনের মাথায় যিনি আছেন তিনি যে কাঠের পুতুল এবং তার যে সুতোগুলো মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়ের হাতে আছে এটা কিন্তু একদম পরিষ্কার হয়ে গেছেন। রাজ্য নির্বাচন কমিশনের মাথায় পরিষ্কার করে দিয়েছেন তার অ্যাক্টিভিটিতে।
পুলিশ থানার সামনে তৃণমূল বোম চার্জ করছে আমাদের উপরে, আর পুলিশ ছোট জগন্নাথ। ভাবা যায় এই রাজ্যে সম্পূর্ণভাবে একটা অরাজকতার পরিস্থিতি তৈরি হয়েছে, সম্পূর্ণ ল অ্যান্ড অর্ডার এখানে সিচুয়েশন বিঘ্নিত হচ্ছে বারংবার। আমার মনে হয় এই রাজ্যের পুলিশ মন্ত্রী যিনি রয়েছেন এটা তার জন্য অত্যন্ত লজ্জা যে আজকে পুলিশের সামনে তিনি একজন মহিলা মন্ত্রী, এখানে একজন মহিলাকে বিবস্ত্র করা হয়েছে। এটা মেনে নেওয়া যায় না। একজন রাস্তায় একটা বডি পড়ে রয়েছে, পাশের বাড়ি থেকে খবর দিলেন, আজকে আমরা যেতে পারছি না, সে মৃত না জীবিত সেটা দেখবার জন্য যেতে পারছি না।
He is behaving like a cadre of BJP. We respect his position, but अगर वो भाजपा का कैडर जैसा बिहेव करेंगे, भाजपा और CPM कांग्रेस ISF जो बोलना चाह रहा है वो एस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए वो वहां पर एक्टिंग करेंगे तो हम लोग तो अपोज करेंगे। वो निश्चित प्रामाणिक उन्होंने तृणमूल वर्कर के ऊपर हमला किया था और सेंट्रल फोर्स उनका ऊपर छोड़ दिया, तो इसीलिए वो प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे थे। वो उनका जो बेस है ये निश्चित प्रामाणिक का, वो अभी वहां पर इरोशन हो रहा है, वो हारेंगे इसलिए वो नाटक कर रहा है।
Now, my colleague Poonam Burde spoke with a panel of guests on what lies ahead of the state and whether BJP's demand to ask for CM Mamata Banerjee's resignation is justified or not. Let's listen in.
Is there a pattern? Is there any particular party that is benefiting from this? Let's open that up to the panelists that join us on this broadcast. Spokesperson of the TMC, Riju Datta, is with me. Spokesperson of the BJP, Sanju Verma, and leader of the CPI, Professor Dinesh Varshney, is also with us on this broadcast. Riju Datta, let me begin by asking you. On Thursday, when the Calcutta High Court said that there has to be deployment of central forces across the state, given the kind of situation we're witnessing, the SEC, I beg your pardon, came out and said that we'll adhere to that order. Today, the SEC and the state government have knocked on the Supreme Court's order wanting to revert that particular decision of the Calcutta High Court. Can we ask what has changed in the last 48 hours because violence is still being witnessed on ground?
Let me be very frank about it. There is modular code of conduct now in Bengal. So the police and the law and order is not under the state government. It is under the State Election Commission. And the State Election Commission has gone to the Supreme Court. So I cannot comment on that because I am not a spokesperson of the State Election Commission. But coming to the violence, let me, rather than going into whataboutery and mudslinging, let me give out some facts. Now, there has been violence in couple of places of South Chobbish Pargona, and it has been in one place it has been brought under control. In another place there has been violence, but now it is peaceful there. And all over Bengal, in such a large state like Bengal, it is peaceful, absolutely peaceful. And why I am saying that is because of these numbers that I am giving. Out of the 3 people that have unfortunately lost their lives, none of them is a BJP or a CPM Karyakarta. It is Trinamool Congress Karyakarta and one Congress Karyakarta. Point number 1. So if Trinamool is causing all this, Trinamool is not going to kill their own cadres. Now, point number 2, the total nomination that has been filed in the state in the Panchayat elections, the collective opposition, which is the BJP, CPM and the Congress, have filed 1,50,000 nominations, and the ruling government and the ruling party has filed only 82,000 nominations. And the third most important point, in 2018, in the Trinamool Congress regime, there was 37% uncontested seats that have been won because of violence. And now in 2023, in the same Trinamool Congress regime, the uncontested seats are only 3%. So we have brought down the violence. There is 100% nomination, unlike Tripura where there was 96% uncontested election during the Panchayat regime. There is only 2 places that is there where we have seen violence, which is played on loop on every national channel, every national TV. And the state is being maligned and the law and order has been maligned. I think it is very unfortunate and it shouldn't be the case. And people who have lost...
So we are not manufacturing the images that we are showing. It's not a slander campaign. Violence is happening. Today we had the MOS Nishit Pramanik, who was there in the state. He too came out and alleged that his convoy was attacked. We aren't manufacturing these things unlike what the TMC would like to believe. But I would have Sanju Verma come out and respond to the allegations that you've been making. Sanju Verma, it's the opposition that is on a slander campaign, which is why they want to put out these sporadic instances that have come out. It's not just the BJP, but the BJP is in cahoots with the CPM and the Congress as well in the state, says the TMC.
You know, Poonam, first and foremost, let me give you some data. And the data, the latest data is that out of the total nominations filed, which were to the tune of 1,63,000, the number of nominations filed by the BJP are roughly in the region of 56,000, which is 34% of the total nominations filed. You will be surprised to know that the total number of nominations filed by the Trinamool Congress are close to 87,000, which is 53% of the total nominations. And I have a very interesting data. Apparently 40,000 nominations by the TMC were filed this Friday, the last day of the nominations. 40,000 nominations across 341 Gram Panchayats. And it was approved by the State Election Commission, which means that basically the State Election Commission had less than 2 minutes to go through every single nomination. Because across 341 Gram Panchayats, if 40,000 candidates have filed a nomination, it basically means that for every nomination, the State Election Commission barely got 117 seconds, less than 2 minutes. Point number 3, Nishit Pramanik's car was vandalized today. The windshield was broken. And I don't think this is something new.
Shifting focus to another violence hit state now, there seems to be no end to violence in the northeastern state of Manipur. Fresh violence was also reported in Langol, where a union minister's residence was practically burned down by unidentified miscreants. Meanwhile, Congress General Secretary Jairam Ramesh, along with leaders of 10 opposition parties, sought the Prime Minister's intervention in this particular matter. The Grand Old Party also blamed BJP's politics and RSS ideology for the unrest in Manipur. Several women in Imphal formed human chains to raise awareness and demanded the preservation of Manipur's territorial integrity. Now, Manipur's opposition has also sought for a meeting with Prime Minister Modi before he actually leaves for United States in few days. Now, it's going to be gut-wrenching for you, but let's listen in to the man whose wife and child were burnt alive in an ambulance in Manipur.
You know, I really don't know how to start it, how to ask this bereaved father, bereaved husband, that what went wrong, what happened that day. Lead.
In a far place from the mountainside, but there was a firing going on between these groups. So that's when his son got shot by a sniper. See, the child was inside the house and the father was outside where he went to collect water from the well. So the child called him out, father, 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 and then somehow there was a shot from a sniper and he was hit. So the wife called out to Mr. Joshua and he said, Dada, our child has been shot. So that's when they rushed him to the MI. Actually, they were taking shelter in the army camp because the villages were all burned around them. So till that time, the child was shot. They took him to MI room, and that's how the next phase will be telling us about the ambulance, the way they were taken down to Imphal. They were taking the son who was already injured for Imphal, right? Dreams, because the mother is from the Meitei community and the auntie Lydia is also a Meitei. So they had this hope that at least they would be spared. And since the child was already shot and then he was in need of medical care, they had to take him to Rims in Imphal. So on their way, they were stopped by a mob of, I mean, we don't want to take the names, but obviously it's the Meitei mob. And they pleaded, she told them that she's their daughter. I mean, she was a Meitei and married to a Kuki. So they didn't listen to her, it seems. And then she was burned alive along with the son and the friend in the ambulance, alive. He said, in spite of the sufferings, all he wants is peace, and that peace is what will, enable us to settle in our villages, and then rebuild our lives. He said the Kukis are minorities in the state of Manipur, so the majority has to take the responsibility of bringing peace. That is his appeal to the majority Meiteis, because he's married to a Meitei and then he seems to understand the general. His anger is very, very saddened by the fact that the PM hasn't spoken a word on Manipur.
You could say a little loudly.
He's saddened by the fact that the Prime Minister of the country hasn't spoken a word on Manipur, in spite of so many being killed. And he is not very sure about the intention of the CM, though he spoke of truth, but then the intentions are questionable. That is what he's saying. And he appealed to both sides, like without peace, there won't be a future for.
से एक रिलीज था जो आज भी पीआईबी आर्काइव में आपको मिलेगा। ये है 24 जून 2001। हिंसा होता रहा, दंगे होते रहे, मणिपुर में शांति वापस नहीं आई। 8 जुलाई 2001 और ये भी पीआईबी के आर्काइव से हैं।
We are now shifting focus to Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States. Now, ahead of his visit to United States from June 20th to June 24th, the Indian American community is organizing an event named Welcome Modi Unity Day in 20 cities today. Now, there will be a unity march representing India from north to south and east to west in Washington, D.C. The tour that commences in New York City will be culminated in Washington, D.C. today. This highly anticipated official state visit is aimed to strengthen the strategic partnership between the two nations and foster greater collaboration on key global challenges. Now, PM Modi will be accorded a grand guard of honor at the White House, followed by bilateral talks with President Joe Biden. On June 21st, PM Modi will take part in International Day of Yoga celebrations at UN Secretariat with over 180 countries in participation.
Certainly, Prime Minister Modi has served the people well. We all strive to have democracy in the world. We all need good trade relations, and we certainly have good trade relations with India. So we look forward with great anticipation from hearing from Prime Minister Modi, and we look forward to building on our relationship between the U.S. and India.
The Congress will look forward to the state address that he will make in the United States Congress. That will be both houses of Congress. That's a very important position to be in. We will be attentive, and we'll look forward to all of the solutions that we can make together. That's what we've always done with India. We've always found ways.
The growing importance of the relationship between India and the United States cannot be understated. Our shared commitment to democracy and economic freedom serves to build peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific region and challenge the increasingly aggressive China. Robust cultural, educational, professional programs play a key role in strengthening our partnership in science, technology, education, medicine, cybersecurity, civil nuclear energy, and so much more. Americans of Indian descent are an important fabric of the American life.
Now, CNN News 18's Poonam Burde explains the significance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the United States. Let's listen in.
The countdown for Prime Minister Modi's upcoming trip to the United States has begun. He will be travelling to the US from the 21st of June to 24th, and this visit is significant for India. There is a lot on symbolism, there's a lot of significance, especially as far as defence is concerned, defence cooperation between the two countries is concerned. Several major deals are expected to be inked between New Delhi and Washington, D.C. The enthusiasm among the administration seems high there. Key members of the US President Joe Biden's cabinet have spoken with unusual clarity, stressing the initiatives that have been launched to break old taboos and overcome the hesitation that still exists within the US bureaucracy especially. Remember, Prime Minister Modi is going to be addressing the US Congress as well, and he is going to be the first Indian Prime Minister to do so for a second time. It's an action-packed 72-hour visit of the Prime Minister, one, like I said, that's high on symbolism and significance as well. Take a look at all that's expected, that's on the cards for the Prime Minister. It all begins with the Yoga Day event at the UN headquarters. Prime Minister will be leading the global community on International Yoga Day. Then we have an engagement, a private dinner with the Bidens. It's extremely significant given the rapport that the two world leaders share. As far as optics go, that is something that is going to be keenly watched. Then comes the US Congress address. It's significant because he's the first Prime Minister to address the US Congress twice, a demand for which was made from within the administration there, within congressmen who wrote to the Speaker to ask Prime Minister Modi, invite him to address the Congress. There's a bilateral meeting between the two leaders as well. The focus is going to be on trade and defense ties specifically. A meet with top CEOs is also expected. The big investment pushing India as the investment hub of the world, that is something that the Prime Minister is going to be doing. And like always, when the Prime Minister travels abroad, there is going to be a connect with the diaspora there. The significance of it is, of course, to build trust and confidence and highlight the path, the trajectory that India's growth is taking.
Welcome to Washington, D.C., Prime Minister Modi. The Prime Minister's state visit is a significant moment in the U.S.-India relationship. I hope Prime Minister Modi will have the same opportunities to experience all the richness of the United States during his visit, from our trade and economic engagement to our security cooperation to our people-to-people ties. The India-U.S. relationship is critically important. We have made considerable strides in recent years, and I hope for even more in the future.
The Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, on his upcoming visit to the United States. Given the consequential nature of the United States and India's relationship, I look forward to hearing from the Prime Minister during our joint meeting of Congress on his vision for India's relationship with the United States, and our shared work together to advance peace, prosperity, democratic values, and stability in the Indo-Pacific.
Indian American community is excited because this is the first state visit of Prime Minister Modi in nine-year tenure, and also second in last 20 years. And also the US-India relations are at its peak since independence, and it is deepening a relationship in many spheres, either science and technology or defense, you name it, and security. So in that respect, the community itself feels that they are part of this story. They're proud that this momentous occasion is happening. That too, when India became the 5th largest economy and going to be 3rd largest. So the community itself is very proud about their country of origin.
Well, it's time for a short commercial break, but more news and updates continue on the other side, so stay tuned.